You might be paying hundreds of dollars a year for something you already have at home. Most people don't think twice when they grab a bottle of water. It feels clean, convenient, and safe. But when you step back and look at the long-term cost and what you're actually getting, the question becomes harder to ignore. Is bottled water really worth it? This isn't just about money. It's about understanding what you're paying for, what you're avoiding, and what might not be as different as it seems. At first glance, bottled water appears to be the safer option. It's sealed, labeled, and sold as purified or spring water. That creates a sense of control. You can see the product, hold it, and trust that it's been processed. But here's where the problem starts. Many people assume bottled water is significantly cleaner than tap water. In reality, that's not always the case. In some situations, bottled water comes from sources that are not very different from municipal supplies. It may go through filtration, but so does tap water in many cities. At the same time, bottled water is stored in plastic for extended periods. It sits in warehouses, trucks, and store shelves, often exposed to heat and time. Over that period, small changes can occur in the water, especially depending on storage conditions. So now you have two systems: tap water, which is regulated and delivered through infrastructure, and bottled water, which is processed, packaged, and distributed. Both have strengths and weaknesses, but the perception of one being automatically better is where confusion begins. Let's break this down further. The cost difference is one of the clearest factors. Tap water is extremely inexpensive per gallon. Bottled water, on the other hand, can cost hundreds or even thousands of times more per liter. That difference adds up quickly, especially for families who rely on it daily. But people don't just pay for water. They pay for convenience and peace of mind. That convenience is real. Bottled water is portable, easy to store, and doesn't depend on your home system. For travel or emergencies, it makes sense. The problem is when it becomes a full-time replacement without understanding the trade-offs. Another important factor is consistency. Tap water quality can vary depending on location, infrastructure, and maintenance. In some areas, it's excellent. In others, there may be concerns about aging pipes or outdated systems. This uncertainty is what pushes many people toward bottled water. It feels like a safer default. However, bottled water is not immune to variation either. Different brands use different sources and filtration processes. Some are highly refined, while others are simply filtered versions of existing supplies. Without checking details, it's easy to assume a level of quality that may not always be there. Then there's the issue of control. With bottled water, your control is limited to choosing a brand. With tap water, you have more flexibility. You can test it, filter it, and adjust your setup based on your needs. This is something many people overlook. Instead of replacing tap water completely, some households choose to improve it. Simple filtration systems can reduce certain contaminants and improve taste. More advanced setups can target specific concerns depending on local conditions. This approach shifts the focus from avoidance to understanding. Now let's talk about long-term impact. If you rely on bottled water every day, the cost becomes a recurring expense that never goes away. Over time, this can represent a significant portion of your household budget. It's not always obvious because it's spread across small purchases, but the total is substantial. On the other hand, investing in a reliable home filtration system is usually a one-time or occasional cost. Maintenance is still required, but it's often more predictable and manageable. This doesn't mean bottled water has no place. It can be useful in specific situations, like travel, emergencies, or temporary needs. The issue is using it as a default without evaluating alternatives. Here's the key insight. The real question is not whether bottled water is good or bad. It's whether it solves a specific problem you actually have. If your tap water is unsafe and you have no immediate way to improve it, bottled water may be a practical solution. But if your water is generally safe and the concern is based on uncertainty or taste, there may be more efficient ways to address it. In many cases, people are paying for reassurance rather than necessity. Understanding your local water quality changes everything. Once you know what's in your water and what needs to be improved, your decisions become more precise. You stop relying on assumptions and start working with real information. That's where the balance shifts. Instead of choosing between tap and bottled water as two extremes, you begin to see a middle ground. A system where you use what you already have, improve it where needed, and only rely on bottled water when it actually makes sense. This approach is more controlled, more cost-effective, and often more sustainable in the long run. In the end, bottled water is not just about what's inside the bottle. It's about how you think about water in your daily life. If you never question it, it becomes a habit. If you understand it, it becomes a choice, and that choice can save you money, reduce uncertainty, and give you more control over something you use every single day. If you found this breakdown helpful, consider subscribing for more practical insights like this. In the description, you'll find a resource that outlines how to evaluate your own water situation step by step, so you can decide what actually makes sense for your home.